Hey everyone, and welcome to the next episode of PlayStation Pursuit. I got a small stack of games that I got at a local store called Microgame that has their summer sale going on, which has many great aspects of the sale, through different systems and stuff you want to get. But for me, the big benefit of this summer sale is they have a buy two, get two free sale on PS1 games. So that's better than buy two get one, buy two get two. Hey, I'm all there. So I got some common games out of the way, a few things that I didn't have, and some less than common stuff too as well. So stick around, and I will show you what those are. Okay, before I get into the pickups, I will show you a couple games that actually my friend Chris, who works at Microgame, he gave me some PlayStation 1 goodies, including one game that he told me he'd give me for a really good price, and then a couple extra PlayStation things that he found. So the first thing he gave me was a PlayStation rain poncho that he got from a convention or something like that, which I thought was kind of cool. And then he gave me I gotta take it out of this sleeve because it doesn't have a case. It's a Crash Bash and Spyro Year of the Dragon demo disc. So I'm sure he gave it to me for free, but I'm sure it costs a few bucks because these demo discs, especially when they're based off of beloved franchises, they tend to go for a little bit on eBay. You're like, what? A demo disc? But and then this game is one of those elusive horse-themed games that tends to have a following. Well, I guess there's like two versions. There's the simulated horse game, where it's like a racing or managing a horse kind of game, and then there's like the Barbie's horse game, or My Horse and Me. So there's like two versions of these horse genre, I guess you could call it. But this is supposed to be actually a pretty good one, and it's called Gallop Racer. It's published by Tecmo. I said Temco, and it actually does look pretty good for a horse racing game. So, and they have a PS2 and PS3 versions of this game, probably a PS4 one in Japan, and they'll probably put it over here as an obscure title for the PS4. But yeah, it's supposed to be a good series, and I barely ever see it. In fact, I've only seen this after I got it from him. I saw it at one other place. So pretty cool to have that. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. He also gave me some PlayStation Underground discs, but I think I stacked them with my other ones, so they are the ones that he gave me. I don't know, but I appreciate those as well. So let me go into some of the titles I got. I don't remember what order I got these in, but when you do a buy one get one or buy one get two, actually yeah, it was buy one get two, not buy two get two. Man, I really messed up how good this deal was. Buy one get two. So anyway, I only had to buy one of these games, and then I got two at the equal value. And the best strategy for any buy one get whatever is to group similarly priced games together. So there was like a $2 game, and then I got two other $2 games, so I got three for the price of just $2, and et cetera, et cetera. I think I did like a $5 and a $6 range too. So these are some of the games I got. I got Pro Pinball, which is one of the many pinball games, and one that I didn't have for the PS1, which is cool. And then Boxing Series, I think there's two of this game. Contender, in pretty good shape. I'll check it out. I have mixed reactions to boxing games. Some of them I'm like, this is actually really fun. Some of them I'm like, oh, kill me. So we'll see where that falls on my boxing scale. I got the first game in Pittsburgh, you might remember from that video, and this is the second, Real Fishing 2, and it has a bunch of stickers on it that I gotta get off, but I grabbed this one because I could tell before I opened it, I could tell the manual was super crisp on the other side, and then when I brought it up to the front counter, he opened it up, and yeah, it was in great shape. So glad I got that one. And then I got Olympic Summer Games, so just a common, Olympic game like they do pretty much every time there's Olympics, there's games to go with it. I really want to get Decathlete for the Saturn. I heard that's supposed to be one of the best Olympics games, but I don't know how this one is, but I will check it out. And then this game looks like a Tamagotchi clone or inspired type game. It's a pet raising simulator called Creatures, and it's got a really weird character on there, but it looks kind of cool from the back. It looks like it's got like 2D graphics. Reminds me of like Lemmings or something. So I bet you that's the world that your creatures live in. It says raise me, feed me, love me. But in good shape. like the orange motif throughout the inside of the packaging. So pretty cool there. Why don't I take a break, talk about some PlayStation favorites for this week, and then when I come back, I'll show you the rest of the stuff I got at Microgame. Okay, so the first PlayStation favorite this week is one that you've all seen way back in the very first episode of PlayStation Pursuit, is when I finally added it to my collection. But it's long been a favorite of mine on the PS1, and I want to talk about it now. So, that game is Working Design's very own Raystorm. And this game is a fantastic, I believe it's a vertically scrolling shoot 'em up. I always, for some reason I have to stop, even though Horizon, I should know, is this way, but this one vertically scrolls. And two things right off the bat. I think this is one of the most gorgeous PS1 games. It's fully 3D, but it runs in higher resolution. It kind of has like this really sharp look to it. A lot cleaner than most PS1 games. And it's very colorful. It's vibrant and gorgeous. And I don't have it yet, but I did play Ray Crisis, which was the sequel after this. And I still like that game, but I don't like it as much as this, especially visually. It's a little more... It's kind of like the whole game is more cohesive with being with one art style. It's inside of a computer mainframe or something like that in the story. So everything has... At first, it looks kind of like a Blade Runner-y cyberpunk city, but really it's like a more computer-y look to it. It's very dark. Still a fantastic shooter, don't get me wrong. But I always like this just a little more because of that. It's just... The art direction in this is absolutely gorgeous. And they have an HD version of this on the Xbox Arcade and PlayStation Network for PS3 and Xbox 360. Don't know if it's still live on there to download, but it was on there, and I thought that was pretty cool. One of my favorite games got a second life on the last generation. But anyway, this game was really cool, and what I like about it is it's got your standard power-ups and bombs and, you know, it's regular shooting, but also it has a lock-on system that reminds me a lot of 3D rail shooters like Panzer Dragoon, where you can kind of paint your targets. You hold the shoot button and select multiple enemies at once, and then when you let go, these lasers blast out, and that kind of helps with the aforementioned graphics too. It has really cool effects when all the lasers go across the screen and stuff. You can kind of see in the bottom picture down there. Really cool game. Like I said, I love the look of it, and it feels really smooth. I don't know if I like it better than the prequel to this. Before Raystorm was a game called Galactic Attack for the Sega Saturn, and it's called Layer Section in Japan, so there was a name change there. But I really have always loved Raystorm so much, so I don't know. Galactic Attack's really good, and what's impressive about that is it's fully 2D, but it has just as much going on the screen as this one does. So they're both kind of neck and neck in my opinion, but great shooter. It's kind of tough to track down like most Working Designs games are, but I definitely think if you haven't played it, check it out, and you'll be impressed with what you see. Alright, this next game for the PS1 is truly a hidden gem, which I try not to say that term because everybody uses it, but this is a game that nobody talks about. And I have one friend who actually tuned me into it. He mentioned it and said, "Oh, this is a really cool game, you gotta check it out." And sure enough, as soon as I tried it, it was awesome. And I'm pretty sure I got this at Too Many Games a couple years ago for a really good price. So I'm glad, because from what I can tell, it's definitely spiking. So if you want to try this game and you see it in one of your local stores for a decent price, definitely pick it up before it goes up even more. But the game is called Silent Bomber. And not just because it has the word bomb in the title, but the first thing I will compare this to is Bomberman. If you like the Bomberman series, it's got core gameplay elements that feel a lot like Bomberman. Placing bombs down on the ground. It's from a top-down perspective, although it is 3D, and it has a really cool skewed look to it. Not fully isometric, but it gives a lot of depth and everything. And the graphics and art style are really good in this. They lend themselves well to the PlayStation 1 graphics. Lots of great explosions and everything. And it's a very Japanese game. What I mean by that is the look is definitely anime influenced, so it's got a lot of the same kind of graphical tricks and stuff you see in a lot of the other anime-based art styles on PS1 games, Ghost in the Shell and everything like that. But it also has a very Japanese Japanese gameplay design and story philosophy and everything. What I mean by that is, you know, it's got kind of a campier anime-esque storyline that's got some cheesy voice acting and stuff, but it's still memorable playing through it. And just the way the game plays, it's very action-packed and very fast-paced, and the controls are super tight. So a lot of Japanese games, especially in the PS1 and Super Nintendo era and everything like that, they just, you know, you could just tell when it was a game that came from Japan originally. Another thing that's really cool about this is, similar to, I guess, Raystorm, I mentioned there was like a lock-on thing in that game, even though it's a shooter, and this is not a shooter. You can kind of lock on, there's like your standard bombs that you place in a Bomberman style, but you can also kind of lock onto enemy or environment and launch the bomb to do like more strategic stuff. And that's where the game really becomes more than just fast-paced Bomberman. It has a lot of really cool strategy with it, and different bombs, special bomb types and everything with cool effects and everything. Absolutely cool title. It has a very old school feel to it. It feels like an older, action-packed video game. It feels very video gamey. It's weird. It's the best term I could think of for it. But like I said, graphically and sound design and controls especially, this game knocks it out of the park. So if you get a chance to try this game, I definitely recommend it. One of my PS1 favorites. Okay, so the final stack of games from the buy one get two, I got a pretty good mix here. These start to get a little more interesting. The first one is it looks like a kart racer called Renegade Racers, and I got to get some, or probably just change out the case because it's a price thing that's from an old store is on the case, so I can just change that out. But it looks pretty decent. I haven't heard much about it. Oh, there's more on the back. E22. I love that it's written twice on there. It's like an emergency. E22. We got an E22. It's Renegade Racers. This one store that it came from, you know, they had a really weird filing system. But anyway, then I got Tempest X. Tempest is a pretty cool series. Or Tempest X3, X3rd, I don't know. Tempest X3, I think it is. And I talked about one of my favorite games, N2O, Nitrous Oxide for the PS1, and I said it's a Tempest-like game, so I'm glad to get the Tempest for PlayStation. There might be a long box of this too, I think I might have seen it before, but glad to get a copy of it in any case. And then this game has pretty cool cover art, and it says premium value product on the front, so it probably was a value release if it's pronouncing that. And it looks like a puzzle game, and it's called Marble Master. I really like the artwork on it, but yeah, the game looks kind of bland, but it might be a fun puzzle game, so I'll definitely check it out. This game I always see, and it's usually pretty cheap, and I don't know why I haven't picked it up before, but I like the look of it. It's a dodgeball game, and it reminds me of the River City Ransom style character design, and there are Super Dodgeball Advance and stuff, those types of games in that. I think it's in the series. So this looks a lot like that. I don't know if it's related to it, and it's called All-Star Slammin' D-Ball is on there. It's just covered up by the sticker that I have yet to remove. But it looks pretty good. It's got 2D graphics, pretty sweet looking graphics. I always liked the artwork of the guy chucking the flaming dodgeball. And yep, value game. There's other value games advertised in there, so pretty cool to add this one to the collection. Always looks good. And if you don't like this game, you're an All-Star Slammin' D-bag. Alright, I got two more. One is a game in a series that I have the other two, and this was the one that I was missing. It's the second one, Colony Wars Vengeance. It's a single disc with, and man, I love the Colony Wars games graphics, and I can tell from the back, looks really good too. Like a giant mech thing, the ship's fighting and stuff. So really good series, really tough, but if you get a chance to play these games, I definitely recommend them. And then the last title I got is a game I had for the Sega Saturn, and I heard that version is actually a better port than the PlayStation version, but as I was getting rid of the Saturn version, I wanted to scoop this one pretty quick just to have the game still in my collection, and it's called Mass Destruction. It's like a top-down tank game with lots of explosions, and yeah, I think I heard that even the graphics are actually better in the Saturn version, or might run faster or something like that, which is, you know, usually not the case. Usually the 3D games run better on PS1, but it was pretty cool to get that one back in the collection. And there's one last thing I'm going to show before I tally up the games, because I don't just get the PS1 games, I try to find fun oddities and stuff. I got this controller, I think it was like $4 or maybe less. It's called the Ultra Racer steering controller. and I checked it out. It's actually pretty cool. It's got a trigger on the back that acts like a pedal on a reverse, and then this wheel on the top, it spins, and it feels a lot like the same feedback you get from a steering wheel. So it actually might be a pretty cool controller. I haven't tested it out yet, but it's pretty cool. It has the instructions in there, and it doesn't have any like cardboard or foam or anything to hold it in there, so it's a little loose in there, but it's pretty cool. And you know, officially endorsed product. I'm glad to add to the PS1 collection. So thank you, Microgame, and thank you, Chris, for this cool summer sale and some good pickups. So, all right, I'm going to add it up and see where we're at so far with the Pursuit. Okay, so the Pursuit is now up to 493 games. I'm only 7 away from the elusive 500 milestone. So very excited, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to be crossing that soon. So super stoked. So that was another episode. Thank you so much for tuning in, and like I always say, if you don't mind subscribing, liking, commenting, interaction, that's what I like. I like talking with people who watch the videos, and hopefully through doing this series and building up my PlayStation 1 collection, you've learned about some new games and can check those out yourselves and maybe find some future favorites for you. So thank you again for watching, and I will see you all in the next week's episode.